Hi, welcome. Lauren and I wanted to today reach out to all of you to kind of talk about our new website, Living Within Sanity, and kind of where we came from and why we created it and why the name. The truth is that our name, Living Within Sanity, has had some controversy since we first started the business. And we both felt really passionate about it.
Definitely.
And we have reached out to a lot of people about opinions about it, and we feel like we finally had a good fit. And so we kind of wanted to go ahead and talk about that a little bit today. Did you have anything you wanted to add about that?
Sure. So a lot of times when you are living in a household with an addict or an alcoholic, you kind of enter into this world of insanity. And the official definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And so living in these households, when the person has not entered into recovery, they're doing the same things over and the family's expecting something different. And so that's kind of where that term, living in insanity comes from. So we wanted to provide hope that you can go from living with that insanity to living within sanity, hence the name, that, you don't have to continue on in this cycle, that you can break free from it, and there's something better, there's something different.
So our catchphrase that we started with before the name actually even began was transition from living within sanity to living within sanity. Now, the controversy comes from a lot of people who we've talked to who don't understand addiction, who may not have been so personally affected by addiction or may not be an adult child of an alcoholic or addiction. They felt like the word insanity was really insulting and kind of hurtful, almost like we were trying to say they're insane. But really what we believe, and what I think other people agree with, is that people who understand addiction and have lived with addiction or lived with other people's addictions, is that the idea of the disease is insanity. It doesn't make anybody actually insane, but you feel like you're living within an insane world. And so our goal with the loved one's recovery process is that you learn to take yourself out of the insanity of someone else's addiction and learn to find your own sanity within yourself and your life, and to become whole and healthier and move forward, even if your loved one has decided not to get sober yet or isn't ready to get sober yet. And so that's where the name came from.
Yeah. And I think that Tiffany touched on a really important part, is that sometimes the loved one chooses to not get sober. And that can be... It can be really difficult for the family. And I think that there's still recovery for that family. You can still choose recovery. You can still choose sanity. And I think that's part of, you'll see some of those things in the videos that we do, the creating boundaries, and a lot of different things, because alcoholism and addiction is a family disease, and that every person in the family is affected, from the loved one, the children, everybody. It's all encompassing, and so everybody deserves recovery, and everybody deserves to live within a sane environment.
And what I think is really important to talk about too is, if you're an adult child of addiction or alcoholism, you may not currently be living within the insanity. However, that can follow you into your adulthood, because what we need to remember is that all of us create our coping skills and our attachment styles and all of these other things when we are children. And so if you're living within a family where one or more people are struggling with addiction, when you're growing up, your coping skills are actually being catered to that addiction within the family, and you're learning to keep the secrets, and those are keeping everybody sick. And so when you're an adult, even though you have the best of intentions, it still can come with you, and it still can affect how you cope and how you feel as a person. And so, the insanity isn't just in the moment of the addiction. It can also come with you in the future. And so for those who might know that they're struggling with that, or don't even know yet that they're struggling with that, it certainly can be something for them to work on and help them move forward so that they don't have to continue to use those unhealthy coping skills.
And I think one of the goals that we had was to reach a multitude of people. So, the families and the loved ones that maybe are currently living with the person that's still struggling with addiction actively or in early recovery, or even those that, maybe their loved one has recovered a long time ago, but they're still dealing with the aftermath of the effects of growing up in that family or living within that environment. So it's never too late for recovery at any point. You really can, these videos and learning about this can be very helpful to give everyone a really good understanding of how to heal, how to continue to cope in a healthy way if you have found yourself coping in unhealthy ways throughout life. It's never too late to change, it's never too late to understand and to begin that healing process for yourself and your family.
And then there's also this other piece of recovery, if your loved one has gotten sober or is in the process of getting sober, that most people don't seem to understand, is that sobriety doesn't solve our problems. It doesn't make everything instantly better. If someone gets sober, then now you have to actually learn how to be a family or be a spouse or be a partner with someone who you've been surviving with rather than living with. And so there's a lot of work to be done. The sobriety alone isn't going to cure it all. And then there's some healing to do after that. And I think a lot of people become very unpleasantly surprised that when their loved one becomes sober, that things instantly get better. Absolutely. And that there needs to be a family recovery process. And so what it comes down to in summary is that our goal in creating this website and these psychoeducation courses is that we can help all those people around and living surrounded by other people's difficulties with substance use, and that it encompasses pretty much anybody or everybody who could be touched by it. You could be a child, you could be a spouse, you could be a parent, you could be a best friend. You could be anybody who is so significantly impacted by someone you love who's suffering with addiction. And so we just want to say, recovery is not just about the person who's suffering with the disease. Recovery is about everybody else around it as well. And so we have found in our careers, working with addictions for 12 years plus, that while treatment centers do try to include the family and they try to give them some information, they don't focus on a recovery for the family. They just give them these little bits and pieces that are very specific to their loved one and how they're coming into recovery. And so we hope that we can fill that gap, and we can do it in a way that's confidential and private and not scary and not intimidating, and that if you aren't ready yet to go out and go to a group or go to Al-Anon or go to therapy, that you can at least start with us and then hopefully find the courage to find that extra help in your community and really heal for yourself while hopefully your loved one's healing, or even if your loved one is not yet healing. Okay. And so that's our intention.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we look forward to speaking with you more, and we will see you at Living Within Sanity.